smarter.
Okay, well, thanks for answering my questions, Jaden.
The game gets one and one.
That's awesome.
I got a few pointers. You want to produce it, you need to turn the kid around so you don't get the shadows in him. And then also as a questioner for Isaiah, the kid was great interviewing. Isaiah, you breathe too much when you're asking questions. Don't be redundant. Don't ask him about the MVP twice in one question. But besides that, you might have a future.
Also, you might have noticed the young man was wearing an Isaiah Thomas Cavs jersey. Because of his brief time, those actually never went on sale. So he's just wearing the jersey his dad wore on the Cavs, same size and everything.
But much like they do in the locker room, he took it off for the interview.
Yeah, you missed it. Same size.
I was joking.
Oh, because he's so little.
Those jerseys did go on sale.
Oh, okay.
It's a joke. But Jen was like, oh, he's really wearing his daddy's jersey.
So cute.
I mean, Isaiah Thomas is short for a grown man, but he's bigger than a 4-year-old.
4-year-old short.
But you're right, he did go shirtless post-game after the tough game.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I like the Jordan. Go with your suit, tie, and everything.
Okay.
Start merchandising your brand at a young age.
I don't often not get your jokes. I didn't get that one.
That's okay, Jen. Don't worry about it.
Time for some stories to start your morning.
Funniest woman I ever worked with in sports TV.
Putting it out, not so much taking it in. Sponsored by Gillette Clear Gel. It's been over a week now since that no call in the Saints-Rams game. According to reports, there is concern around the NFL that 4 officials in the NFC title game are from Southern California. Nick, what do you make of this?
I make that this is the dumbest conspiracy theory I ever heard in my life. About 10% of the country lives in Southern California, first of all. Second of all, if the fix was in, you don't wait until the Saints are going to take the lead no matter what your call is. If the fix was in, you call holding on the Ted Ginn play. You call the face mask that actually did happen to Jared Goff. This is the worst conspiracy theory
earlier. I'd call it then.
Right. Or, hey, you know what? It was illegal motion. Like, zip it. This is the idea that because guys are from the sparsely populated area known as Southern California, they were fixing the game is ludicrous.
Right. We might listen to it if you said, okay, that side judge, that back judge, those two involved. One of them was getting ready to throw a flag. Then you want to conversate. Then we might want to listen. But this was an all-star crew. All-stars make mistakes.
As I've said before, do not assign to malice what can be explained by incompetence. Sorry.
To the NBA now, another casual 40-point night from James Harden. A couple other bright spots for the Rockets. One, they won the game. They beat the Magic. And two, Chris Paul returned and scored 12 points in 25 minutes. Nick, what do you think Harden's scoring will look like now that CP3 is back?
For the next couple weeks, exactly what it's looked like over the last 6 weeks or so, which is 40-plus a night, because I think they're going to slowly get Chris Paul back into it. And you saw yesterday, actually, when those two were on the court at the same time, the Rockets were outscored by 8 points. It was when only one or the other was on the court that they outscored their opponent by 13. So I think that Harden's going to have to keep up the workload he has the last 6 weeks over the next couple as Chris Paul gets indoctrinated back into the team.
Yes, Harden's usage last night was around the same as we've seen it the last month. This is a story about Chris Paul and the playoffs. Last year, we know hamstring failed him. If that doesn't fail him, they're in the finals. What does he do in this year's playoff? Be healthy for the playoff run.
All right, let's get back to some breaking news. Anthony Davis's agent has informed the Pelicans that he will not be signing a contract extension in New Orleans and has requested a trade. Davis is eligible for a 5-year extension this summer and is a free agent next summer. Now, the Lakers have certainly been at the center of trade rumors for AD. Nick, if the Lakers add Anthony Davis, does that make them championship contenders automatically this season?
Yes. If there is such a thing as championship contenders in an era of Warriors with KD and now with Boogie, the Lakers would immediately jump to the top of that list. They would be more so contenders than Houston, than Boston, than Milwaukee or Philly or Toronto, because what they would have is 2 of the 5 best players in the league. The very best player in the league, in case people have forgotten it since it's been out a month, and Anthony Davis, who one day might be the best player in the league, and some people would argue is already the second best player in the league. Now, would that be enough? We got to see what the Warriors continue to look like with Boogie. Right now, they look even better than before Boogie, which was pretty damn unstoppable already. But if there is such a thing as another contender, it has to be the Lakers if they have Anthony Davis to go along with LeBron James.
We've seen LeBron in the last 2 years in the finals with a subpar NBA talent around him. And we saw LeBron. If LeBron can produce 35, 10, and 8, another superstar, absolutely you can play. We've seen Cleveland in the last 2 years be competitive in most of these games. with no one. I mean, talking about guys playing some of the worst basketball of their NBA careers. No superstar like playing around them in last year. So, yes, with LeBron James, and because it's LeBron James, more so than Houston, because we know what LeBron can do against Golden State. James Harden, he cannot rise to that level against Golden State, or has not been able to show that. LeBron, man, if you put LeBron out there with another all-star, man, we would have a series on our hands.
It doesn't matter who would be left on this Lakers team after this trade went through, how many of these assets.
Well, yeah, I mean, it matters. They still need some shooters. I mean, you still need a couple shooters. But let's start the meal with LeBron James and AD, because AD forces the Warriors. They don't have anyone can play him one-on-one. So they'd have to make up their mind. We're going to have to double team him. They'll take the ball out of his hand. They can't play LeBron one-on-one. So now on the offensive end, they do have better matchups going against this Warriors team.
They wouldn't have the fully fleshed out roster in order to be championship favorites, right? They wouldn't have, if you add a player.
Yeah, they need another offseason.
Right, absolutely.
To get a couple guys at the NBA minimum, veteran guys.
Guys that want to go to LA, guys that want to win a ring, guys that want to play with LeBron or play with Anthony Davis.
Be willing to make a little bit less just to be there.
100%. And so you never have a roster that's perfectly formed around your stars if you acquire one of the stars midstream. You need at least one, sometimes two off seasons or trade deadlines to do it. But you would have, again, the big advantage the Warriors have over everyone else is I know they've got 4 All-Stars. They have 2 of the 5 best guys in the world. They have 2 MVPs. They have 2 guys in Steph and Durant that they can have an MVP caliber player on the court for all 48 minutes.
And it's not just because they're 2 of the best. It's the style.
Yes.
They have the ability that they'll never have 4 guys having cold nights. So their ability to shoot, if they had 2 guys that played in the post, their effect on the game wouldn't be as drastic. The style for which they play and their passing and their movement, it creates so much space. And these shooters, it becomes almost impossible to defend them.
And when we have seen in the past a team that has 2 guys in the arguable top 5 guys, those teams win a championship or get there. There's not a lot of instances of this. Shaq and Kobe had it briefly. I would argue you could say MJ and Pippen had it for a year or 2 when Pippen was at his best. Stockton and Malone might have had it for a year or 2 when they were going to NBA Finals, losing to the Bulls. It's so hard to account for that either guy. We saw the one championship LeBron won in Cleveland. Yes, he went on the unbelievable 3-game run. But sandwiched in the middle of that 3-game run, Kyrie dropped 40 on their head in Game 6, the last game that was in Cleveland that series. When you have another guy that can mirror LeBron's production, it's so hard to account for.
And in the playoffs, these marquee guys are playing 38 to 42 minutes of the game. So it eats up all that space that you need for those bench players or role players that you have during the regular season.
CeCe mentioned their style. Can you just go a little deeper on that for me? How do both of these games mesh on the court, LeBron's and Anthony Davis's?
Well, I mean, it'd be an unstoppable pick and roll because Anthony Davis can shoot and can roll. We've never seen LeBron with an all-star caliber true big man who's going to play like a big man. Like Chris Bosh was an excellent all-star caliber big man, but his role was lessened because he was the 3rd option and they stretched him out. Kevin Love in a similar spot, and Kevin Love was never great really against the Warriors. It was a tough matchup for him. Anthony Davis right now, would it be the best teammate LeBron's ever had? Maybe year 1, Dwayne Wade, but at that point, LeBron wasn't LeBron he is now.
This is the thing that LeBron's able to create. You mentioned the pick and roll. You obviously mentioned that with LeBron with the ball in his hand. I'm giving LeBron some break. I'm going to put LeBron in the corner, which he hadn't been able to do much in the last couple years. Put someone else in the pick and roll, and LeBron with AD, because if they double team AD, LeBron becomes the knockdown shooter that he's never been able to play that role in an offense because he's been the focal point.
Right.
Also, he can rest in the corner, allow a guy to get cooking like he was able to do with Kyrie. AD can do that, even being the big man with that versatility, playing in the paint and be able to bring people out to the 3-point line. So it would be a luxury to have a player like AD.
And as we have seen, great players that get featured, their game gets better with LeBron. Now, if you're a great player or a good player and you get lessened like Bosh and Love did, it's a different story. But we've never seen Anthony Davis in his life not be the best player on a team. How good would Anthony Davis be if for the first time he goes into a game and it's like, oh, the whole game plan isn't about stopping me. Oh, you have someone that can hit me directly in my shooting pocket perfectly when I do want to take jump shots. Like, there is as great as Anthony Davis is, I believe if he were paired with LeBron, there'd be a level of his game that could get to that we have yet to see.
Oh. All right, we'll have more on this in a bit, but let's get back to the Super Bowl now. So clearly, Patriots fans are not getting tired of this endless dynasty. Nearly 35,000 strong showed up at the pep rally at Gillette yesterday to send the team off to their third straight